Welcome to Policing TV. Each week, we will explore the highlights from our latest videos, diving into topics like AI, technology, drugs, and the people shaping the future of policing. We started with Raj and Brendan talking about personal experiences and practical strategies that can be implemented by leaders to create a supportive environment for officers, emphasizing 3 simple things that can be done to improve police retention that can make a significant impact.
Talk about 3 things, three simple things that you can do to improve retention if you're a leader within the police service. So let's dive in. Raj, I want to make sure that the people who are watching and listening to this have got like 3 takeaways, like 3 things that they could do, that they could implement, especially if they're going for promotion, because you and I both know that when you deliver your promotion answers, it's not about ticking boxes from the CVF, it's demonstrating that you will be a good fit as a leader within the organisation. So what 3 messages, what 3 things would you pass on that people could take away from this and they can start implementing like today without having big budgets or anything like that? Just like 3 simple things. I'm going to do these things today. Don't wait till tomorrow, just get it done.
So I've alluded to this, but it's about being visible, active, and accessible. Now, when I was in policing, I was the most visible person in policing. Vague Glasgow accent, turban and beard, very, very, very visible. But visibility is not enough on its own. And I got this to this way of thinking when we did public order policing or whatever. We want high visibility policing. What does high visibility policing actually mean? Is it just a yellow jacket walking its way through a crowd of people? Because that's pointless. That will maybe resolve things for 5 minutes, but when the yellow jacket's gone, things return to where they were. So I said it needs to be highly visible, highly active. That activity is talking to people, understanding people, and then accessible. Allowing yourself to be that person that the public, in this case, if you're public order, can come to you because you've built that trust. So becoming accessible. So then I morphed that into, well, actually, as a leader, I need to be visible, active, and accessible. So my visibility was being in all the right places and spaces where I knew I could see as many people as possible. Active, talking, listening, understanding, responding. Then accessible, being actually doing something. Too many leaders worry about, I can't change paying conditions or pensions or whatever it might be. No officer or staff is asking you to do that. But if they ask you for a new kettle or a chair, get them a new kettle or chair. That is within your gift. If you're trying to gift things that are outside of your grasp, you're forever failing. And one of my greatest achievements at Hampshire Isle of Wight, I was only there for 2 years, and people might think this is an odd achievement, is, well, the 23rd of December, I went to see the response team at Waterlooville. Now, I was in charge of public protection. So some people might say, why is the head of public protection going to see response teams? Well, A, I'm a senior leader, and B, the greatest form of protection is generated from those frontline officers and staff. I need to speak to them. Doesn't matter if they're not in public protection directly, they are indirectly. Plus also, they do the hard stuff, the 24/7 policing. So I went to speak to them at Waterloo Police Station. I was told, don't sit on that chair, don't sit on this chair. A number of officers were standing, and I said, why are people standing? The inspector said, we're expecting new chairs. I said, well, when are they arriving? And their response was, we ordered them, it was either 3 or 6 months ago, it was a long time ago. And I thought to myself, I said to them, I'm going to chase this up. So I rang the resources people. I said, I need these chairs now. And they arrived on the 27th or 28th of December. Now, I don't know for a fact whether they were going to arrive on the 28th of December anyway. I'd like to think they were going to arrive anyway. But maybe just my reminder that, yes, it might be the Christmas period, but we absolutely need these chairs. And those officers will remember me as the person who got them chairs, because they asked for something and I gave it to them. I did the same with kettles, cycling kit, new bikes. They were within my grasp, therefore I can gift them. And then they see you as a leader that delivers, so visible, active, and accessible, but not just to your juniors. You need to be that with your peer group as well.
Next up was the fascinating story of Chris Iliffe, who shared his journey from a chief inspector in the UK Police to a new recruit in South Australia Police. Here, he highlights the importance of family support in making the significant move to Australia and the financial considerations involved in such a transition.
You took the decision to move with your family. You have 2 children, your wife and 2 children, to Australia. So you put yourself forward for recruitment by SAPOL, South Australia Police. What were the factors that led you to come to that decision?
I mean, we talked about the sort of the tragedies in the police, really, and losing friends and family over the years, and I don't mean through policing, I just mean through life. Causes one to reflect, I guess, and one of the big factors in life is that you only live once. You know, we don't get a second chance at this. We'd looked at Australia policing and Canada policing for a while. Sort of 10 years ago, I think we first saw the advert go out for SAPOL in particular. And at the time we did the maths, you know, the budgets, and we had young children then, and we simply couldn't afford to take the hit at the time. I think I'd just been promoted as well, so there was a number of factors. My wife wasn't in the right place working. We saw the adverts pop up again this time throughout Australia, and again SAPOL. And it was as simple as that, really. We did the maths of it, sat down as a family. The kids were involved in the decision all the way through, every step of the way, and if they had balked at any of it, that would have been it. The maths worked, we all said yes, so that was it. I put the application papers in, and the rest is history, so to speak.
So supportive family, a key part in that. You were able to take, given that you were an acting chief inspector at the time, there would have been what I imagine to be quite a considerable financial hit.
Yeah.
South Australia are not recruiting you as a chief inspector.
No.
They're recruiting you as a equivalent of a transferee, not quite probationer, I think. So it all worked for you.
Yeah.
Do you think it would work for many others in the UK and indeed more widely?
So I think the first question you've got to look at is that financial aspect. There is a financial element to it, obviously. If you look at the figures and do the maths on it and work out everything from the tax systems over here are completely different, the healthcare system's different, and you look at the financial, how much am I going to take home as a probation constable, and can I afford to live in that? Actually, I think if most people are constable level, they will find, certainly if they're from the south of England where prices are higher, they're probably taking more money home than they are in the UK, even as a probation constable. So once their service is recognised and they get made back up to whatever their length of service is, they will be earning substantially more money as a constable at least. And to put that into context, as an acting chief inspector and what I was earning there compared to what I'll be earning when I finish my probation, I will be not far short take-home wise as a constable or senior constable as I was an acting chief inspector in the UK. So financially it's got to work for you, but there is certainly at least well, for me, 6 months probation, for others up to a year's probation, where you'll be earning potentially slightly less money. So that's the maths you've got to work on, really. From that, then the second question, again, you highlighted it well, is the family. You've got to have the family, A, behind you, the people who are coming with you if they're coming, but equally the ones back at home, not putting any kind of emotional pressure on you, I guess, not making you feel guilty about it. If they're not behind you as well, that's going to be a burden on you, I think. I'm lucky, I've got a very, very supportive family, both here with me now and back in the UK, as has my wife. So that really just hasn't been a hurdle for me so far at all in any way, shape or form. But those are the two key questions I think anyone looking to come out here needs to ask themselves.
Okay.
Diversion was our next topic, covered by Advent FS's CEO Josh Hartlage. They discussed the nature of diversion as an alternative to traditional sentencing, the management of these programs through software solutions, and the differences between the US and UK systems.
So diversion is basically kind of just what it says, and you're getting around, not getting around something, but you're providing an alternate route for somebody. So in this instance, if someone was caught shoplifting, instead of putting them in jail and really being harsh on them. It's basically providing someone a second chance to say, hey, you know what you've done. Let's provide some sort of a program that will that as long as you complete that program, we won't necessarily press charges or have you pay the particular ticket or citation or whatever it might be. So so a diversion is just basically alternative sentencing or an alternative route for someone that has typically for someone that has offended in some way. So and that's what we do. We manage the process around those diversions. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of steps to it. So it's somebody that is in a case where they did something. Let's say they shoplifted. They're going to perhaps apply for the program. They're going to have to register for the program. They're going to have to be presented the program. And primarily, our focus is on low-level offenses. So, and those low-level offenses, meaning first-time offenders, people that are probably just made mistakes and probably more like you and I than folks that are hardened criminals and are going to jail. So it's people that are in that type of situation. So you're really just looking for them to go through some sort of level of programming, and it could, and in our case, a lot of times it's a digital intervention where they go out online, take a course online, but it also might include, you also need to do some level of community service. Or you might have to pay a fine as well, or some sort of a fee type thing. So we manage that whole process for the different agencies, whether it be prosecutors or police or probation officers or whatever, and so that they have a place, a one-stop shop, so to speak, where they can go in to a platform, see where the offender is throughout the process, make sure they're completing what they're supposed to do. And of course, at the end, making sure they receive the whether it be a certificate or some sort of an email that comes to them that says you completed what you had to do, and we're going to make the appropriate steps or take the appropriate steps within the criminal justice system to make sure that you are complete and you don't have to go any further. You don't have to go to jail for what you've done. So as long as you complete what you're supposed to do. Of course, you have the other side of it where people don't complete what they're supposed to do, and the system tracks that. So that keeps the administrators aware of what's going on, that if they don't do certain steps that you ask them to do, then you might have to go back to square one and say, okay, we are going to press charges on this, which that's not what anyone wants to do when you're...
Our last video of the week covered more from the College of Policing's Rachel Tuffin, who discussed the complexities of implementing policing initiatives. Here, Bernard asks the question, why does it take so long?
Why does it take so long to roll out once the research and the work done has indicated that it's a great idea to pursue?
It's a great question, Bernard. And thinking about just a couple of examples, you could think of body-worn video. Took more than 15 years to roll out. Hotspots policing, even longer, I think maybe 30 years from when there was an original evidence base about it. So I think, obviously, as often the case, there's a combination of factors. Just people knowing about things, so speed of awareness, spotting them, knowing that somebody has started to do this innovation, getting alongside it quickly and encouraging them to evaluate. So I don't think when body-worn videos first started to be used, there wasn't evaluation. There was afterwards, but of course that delays if you then got to test it. You know, you want to get the testing done as quickly as you can. Ideally, you do like multiple police forces as well, so you've got like different examples of the same thing being tested in multiple places, because otherwise you can get it may have worked for them, but our force is completely different type thing. So it's helpful to have is there an average result across several organisations? Very helpful. So awareness, an average result, having a strong evidence base. So, you know, a decent quasi-experimental trial, so where you've got a comparison between a few areas and you've got pre and post, or randomized control trial where you randomize whether you give it who you give it to, or what areas you give it to and which ones you don't, and compare the results. All of that can reduce the risk of getting the wrong answer. So an answer that later on turns out to be not the case because it didn't work in X or whatever. So you get strong evidence base. That's actually becoming more and more compelling, I think, in England and Wales. We've got more and more chief officers who recognise it really helps them with managing the risk of something not working. And so that speeds up people thinking, oh, yeah, I can see the findings there. They look robust and I'm interested in that. Then I think we've been missing a trick a bit, which is we don't provide enough detail about exactly how an intervention works and how you would go about implementing it. So policies and procedural documents and an actual blueprint or similar. So I think we've been doing more of that now. The national organisations, when they're helping with these things, are thinking, oh, right, yeah, no, we need to give more of a kind of a manual. I think we used to think, provide the high level findings, provide the kind of, and then if forces can adapt it locally. Well, that's a bit of a kind of get out. Actually, forces could do with a whole lot more work being done to give them the detail that yes, they can then adapt it, but you've given them all the bare bones of the policy documents. That kind of stuff is actually really important. And then I think it's creating networks between organisations, because as they're implementing themselves, they learn all sorts of lessons that they can share with each other. Early forces, when you're doing this sort of thing, is probably a good idea for whoever can provide the support. So the first organisation, that's what we've been doing in the centre. The first organisation to try something, we get them buy out their time almost to help the next forces to adopt, and then gradually create a momentum and a network where they can all share findings with each other. They can continuously improve, to say, oh, I've tried doing it a bit like this, or I've tweaked it slightly. People can go, oh, hang on, don't tweak that bit though, because if you tweak that, that might actually go off beam and not deliver you the results you're expecting. So you create that kind of network, and then monitoring, obviously, that the results are still delivering. Sometimes.
Thank you for watching. Tune in next week.